Hello, homies. We are doing a quickie little recording here with Sarah Valentini and myself. Say hi, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Eugenie.
Hi. We're about to do a Rebels recording, and Sarah and I have got a little bit of time beforehand, and we've been playing around with the idea of having a Q&A Friday, which is inspired by the lovely Dr. Charlie Fagenholz and nurse Lauren Johnston from the Red Pill Your Health cast. They have a Q&A episode every now and again on their podcast, which I love. And so I roped in Sarah to come and help us answer some questions. So there's no like fanfare or huge intro. We're just quickly going to smash out some little Q&As. And if you have any other questions that you want us to answer in our Q&A Friday episodes, go to the Homeopathy Hangout podcast Facebook group and just post them in there and we'll do our best to answer, right?
Right. Yes. Yes.
Excellent. So one of the questions I have for you, Sarah, that was asked in my Facebook group was, can you take too many remedies at a time? What are your thoughts?
You know, I have really contemplated this especially over the last few years. And, I probably prescribe more remedies than a classical homeopath would in a prescription. And that's because I see, there's all these layers and we can move people through them quickly, but they're always carefully considered, of course, and they're always targeted, whether it's like miasm, constitutional fundamental remedy, lesions, organ support, that kind of thing. So in many ways, you don't want to take 3 miasmatic remedies at once. Like there would be no reason to do that. And I don't think that would be particularly beneficial. But, like you could take a couple of remedies, you could take a case opening remedy and then move on to the next remedy. And that's sometimes what I'll do. And I kind of see it like a symphony, so one remedy has to kind of come up and shine and the other ones kind of, are sitting in the background, and then we see what happens and then we work with what comes up to the surface. So I also think that, I've been prescribed remedies with like combination remedies with a whole number of things in it. And I've gone in with an open mind, even though I'm a classically trained homeopath. Not that I particularly work like that. And they've worked beautifully. And so how can we judge that? Like it really is such what the body calls for. We can't put all the rules around it all the time because it's really what works. And that's what I want to do with my patients. I just want to do what is actually going to work for them rather than be stuck in the rules of it. That's a pretty open-ended response. Yeah.
Well, as you started talking, I just realized this is probably like a whole podcast episode in itself.
It is, isn't it? It is. And what do you do? How do you feel about that?
Do you know what? As we're talking, I'm actually just going to pull up a prescription that I have done for somebody today. And there was so much going on in the case. I could see so clearly so many different remedies. And so I'll tell you how I'm just about to email her prescription to her after we record. She did have certain controversial injection that 80% of the population had this year, which I won't say because I don't want to have my channel deleted again. And so she has had definite effects from that, and so we're doing a detox for that. But there's also a huge lacuninum layer there that I can see so clearly, all and very physical. So she's got the throat, the swollen glands, the issues with the breast, and the issues with the ovaries. Very low self-worth, and was raised in a foster family her entire life. Lots of bullying. I mean, clear lacuninum picture. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
But she is also 100% causticum. She has got all the bladder symptoms, all the incredible sensitivity. She works in the works with children, like saving children, and literally she is like the walking materia medica of causticum. So she's getting that. But I'm opening the case with a triad Ignatia because there was and I actually gave it to her in the consult today. And like 15 minutes and she says, I feel so much lighter. What have you done? And, clear layer there, but clear addiction layer as well. Very, very clear. And lots of PTSD, lots of kind of, very big. I can see hypothalamus. So she's getting hypothalamus sarcode. She's getting lacuninum, probably going to be on the weekend, causticum during the week with a sprinkling of Ignatia here and there and a detox. It's going to be interesting to see how she goes, but I can completely justify for you every single remedy that I've given, but I'm not giving all of them every day. So like you say, I love your idea of the symphony. They each get their time to shine. So I prescribe them in certain ways so that when we have the follow-up and she says this has happened then, And this is where the client's taking, like writing, keeping a journal of how they've gone on their remedies is really helpful, because we can see what remedy has done what where. And as you understand the remedies better, you can know which symptom relates to what.
Yeah. And
So,
often people will say as well, just really liked taking that remedy, and that's, I mean, especially when it's just that remedy on that day. Sometimes I'll have a couple of remedies in a day, to be honest,
yeah,
depending,
me
because it
too.
might be a drainage remedy and a fundamental simillimum remedy. But yeah, they'll just say, oh, I just really liked taking that remedy. And I know that feeling too, where you can't exactly pinpoint it, but it just feels generally really good for your vital force. And so, you know, people can gauge that when they're listening to their symptoms, or feeling into their symptoms, or feeling into how they're feeling generally.
Do you know what? In every consult, when I have a prescription of that, I always ask, was there a particular remedy that you were drawn to? And every time somebody will say, you know what, that hypothalamus remedy, I just kept on forgetting to take that one. It was hard for me to remember to take that one, but that other one, I couldn't wait. And sometimes I was like counting down the days until I could take that remedy again. And then I say to them, because part of our job is to empower them to be able to use the remedies themselves. And I say to them, if you have that feeling, you feel drawn to the remedy, feel free to go and take it more, because I can only prescribe how I think your vital force is going to respond. But in reality, you are there with yourself 24/7, not me. So you need to be in tune with what the remedies are doing for you and what it's not.
Exactly. And then the requirement actually might change. The remedy can shift a vital force in a week, and maybe then it calls for a more frequent dosing of that remedy. And so, when we're not there to every week to go, yeah, take it more. I mean, sometimes the clients email us, but that if they can kind of be feeling into that and wanting to take it more, then that can be a beautiful thing too. Of course, I do think there's some nuances with when to increase, because we can kind of want that remedy to come around again really quickly because we really like it, but that's not always the best way forward. Just to I'll just take it all the time. So I guess there's some balance there that we need to make sure we mention here as well.
Definitely. And I think this, because I just grabbed these questions out of my Facebook group, and this one particularly was from a home user. So I think the question comes more so over winter time, when they might be taking like my immune support remedy. And I know you've got a great immune support remedy as well, that they might put in their water bottle every day, but then the kid has a snotty nose and they're teething and they've just had an accident. And so they're taking all these different remedies at the same time. So my guideline is usually that if they're all single remedies, say you're taking 3 or 4 single remedies in a day, it's actually not so much of a biggie, kind of, because a combination remedy can have more than that in one go. So it depends on the potency. Like, I'd be careful to take lots of different types of higher potencies, like 200C, 1M. I mean, I almost don't even call it 200C high potency these days, because I'm prescribing much higher than that. But I wouldn't play around as a home prescriber with too many different high potency remedies in the same day. But if you're doing some 30C for various acute things, it's okay. And then if you're doing like a low potency remedy, like the immune support remedy that's like got 6 X's and 6 C's, or if you're doing like a combination tissue salts in your water bottle alongside another combination remedy, then that's okay as well.
And there's always a chance to kind of sharpen. Sometimes you can't, if you like in an acute situation, if you're throwing like 5 different remedies for all the different things, it can be really hard to gauge which one is working, because we do generally dose more frequently for an acute illness, but you won't be able to kind of gauge which one is doing something if you're kind of just throwing the kitchen sink at it. And I think that, there's a lot of great courses around to learn how to prescribe in first aid situations. And it's kind of a bit of a skill. And every time you do it, you'll sharpen your skills, and you'll learn more and all of that kind of thing. So even though homeopathy won't particularly harm you, you might not also, like, just throwing the kitchen sink at it isn't also the best, most ideal way forward. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And I just have to be honest and real here that I'm just trying to think when it was this year, I was quite sick. I think I potentially had, the C word, COVID, not the other C word. But, and I have to be honest, when I was in that state, I took so many different
Hmm.
remedies. And
Yeah.
even as homeopaths, it's very interesting because, we have the homeopaths on my team and you have your team as well. And when we're unwell, we have the benefit of like WhatsApping each other in our group and getting advice from each other. But
Mm.
often we will just be slamming one remedy after the next. But I guess it's okay because we kind of know what we're doing and we also know what remedy's doing what. And maybe it's different when you're a home user. But at the end of the day, if you have a child with an earache and a fever and stuff like that, and you do end up giving lots of different remedies. I mean, it's not ideal. Like we always, the perfect scenario is always going to be to find that one single perfect remedy that does everything. And that is always what we're striving for.
Mm.
Then sometimes stuff happens and you're
Hmm.
tired and the kid's screaming and you just don't know what to do. And then it's kind of nice knowing that if you give lots of remedies, you're not going to like harm them.
Yeah,
Might be some
totally. Well,
aggravations.
yeah. Well, do you know that I think I had a gastro earlier this year, and of course, and I just felt so unwell. And I actually just went to the repertory and looked up the symptom of like nausea, and maybe there was something else and I can't remember. And I picked 5 remedies. I put them all in a bottle and I kept taking that every 20 minutes. As long as it covered, my nausea symptomatology, then I just took it. And actually it was the best remedy. It was so good. Like it really moved me through the nausea. And I had to actually dose quite frequently, like every 10 minutes, but then I just got through after a while, and I could reduce the frequency of taking the remedy as well. And I think that's an important thing to also note, like for parents to be aware, and you should learn this in any first aid course that you do, is that you need to watch. We generally would say in an acute, you can prescribe more frequently, but I had a situation. I remember this because my oldest son was maybe 3 years old and he had a fever, and I took him to my homeopath at the time. And my homeopath said, and this is when I was early in my practice or maybe just at the end of my studies. And my homeopath said, give him belladonna 1M. And I gave it to him, and he got off the couch and he started playing with the toys. But 5 minutes later, he started to wilt again, and he went and lay down and he was hot, and he was like, dose it again. So I dosed it again, and he got up again. And so I had to dose every 5 minutes. But what I was doing was watching when he needed it. So, intellectually, I would have thought, holy moly, I'm giving belladonna 1M every 5 minutes. That's like, wow, oh, that's just blowing my mind. But his body needed it. And then after about 5 doses, he kind of settled, and it lasted quite a lot longer, like a few hours. He was quite okay. And then maybe I dosed it again after that. And so it's also just watching what the body's doing in those acute situations, isn't it? Watching what the vital force needs, watching for those little things. The fever might not even go down, but
Mm.
the child may seem better in themselves, and then you would dose again.
That is the big one, is just that observational skills. And because in the pharmaceutical kind of mainstream medical model, we get told, just suppress the symptoms. Once you start using homeopathy, you need to learn how to really observe. You need to smell and touch and, ask lots of questions and really be with that person and see what are they doing, what's going on for them, and then adjust your prescribing accordingly.
Mhm.
When my son was a terrible teether and my daughter just sailed through. They're all so different.
Mhm.
And when he was teething, I'm so glad one of my lecturers said to me, you can do chamomilla 200C every 5 minutes if you need to. And I'm like, oh, I was a brand new, classically trained student. Oh my gosh, chamomilla 200C every 5 minutes. That's like crazy. And I
Mhm.
did it and it worked. And some homeopaths will completely slam you if you say, do the chamomilla 200 every 5 minutes if you need to. But, within 3 or 4 doses, he would calm down. And at the end of the day, even if you have to give 10 doses before they calm down, it's still safer than Panadol. And did you know
Mhm.
that Panadol is one of the main reasons for liver transplants in the world and the top reason for liver transplants in children? So,
Mhm.
people often have no qualms giving their kid Panadol for teething, but then they're scared to repeat the chamomilla 200
Mhm.
every 5 minutes.
Right.
So you kind of have to put it all into perspective. I think that's important.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely you do. And I think that that really parents learning to really observe their children, and also to not be frightened to repeat like that. And I think for me, like also during COVID, the C word again, I found that people needed really frequent dosing of 200C. Like most people needed really frequent dosing. And now I've made my first aid kit that I have in my dispensary. It's all 200Cs, except for a couple of remedies, which I don't need to be. But because it really feels like there's some kind of transition that's happening where perhaps our vibration is raising, but also the intensity of illnesses, and that our vital force in these situations is calling for 200C, 1M even in these acute situations.
Definitely. It does feel that there's been a shift. Like people are getting more sick more often and more severely, more quickly. I'll just look at myself. I've been so healthy my whole life, and I've, in the last 4 years, had a couple of things, which I think was probably COVID, where I was just down and out, and that's just completely unlike me. And if I just listen to my clients as well, how sick they've been and how frequently and the intensity of it the last little while. And we're being sprayed on from above. It's like we're just surrounded by stuff all the time. So I do think those higher potencies are warranted. Right. I'm a little bit excited because I'm going to be chatting with a homeopath very soon who is extremely sensitive to homeopathic remedies herself. And there is that subset of the population that are extremely sensitive to homeopathy. They do tend to be the type of people who's sensitive to everything anyway, and that can often be like a keynote for high mercury. So it's worth like kind of investigating these things. But in general, I would say 95% of the population can tolerate several homeopathic remedies pretty well. If you are one of those people that tend to be sensitive to a lot of things, to people's energies, to chemicals, to foods, to medicines, then maybe be a little bit more careful with how many remedies you use at a time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, hopefully you'd already know that before you've dosed really frequently in an acute situation, for sure. But yeah, that's true. I mean, I wonder about copper as well, in copper and mercury in those people, and mast cell activation as well. And that's a whole nother conversation, I guess. But it's definitely a thing, isn't it?
Yeah. We've got like 4 questions here, but clearly that was just one question. And now I'm already thinking maybe we just do these Q&As on like one question at a time, because we can take, that's the thing when homeopaths start talking, is we can go anyway, because now that you're talking about the copper, I'm already saying, well, thinking, well, that probably means liver congestion, which is going to mean it's going to be harder for you to detox anyway. So like, and speaking of mast cell activation, I have to give you huge thanks, because you told me about DAO, diamine oxidase, a little while ago. It is an enzyme in the body that helps to break down histamine, which I did hear about on the Red Pill Your Health podcast as well. And then you were saying that I think I actually heard it on the podcast, and I reached out to you and you said, oh yeah, I do use it in potency already. And so I got some, and my clients have had insanely amazing results with getting down their histamine. It is so freaking cool. So now, in a conjunction with a typical prescription that I just read out to you, I will sometimes, especially for my mold clients or, high histamine type clients, do DAO and histamine in their water bottle daily. And Amazing. It has been life-changing. So thank you.
Oh, well, of course. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Are you using it in potency? Have you made it in potency?
I didn't. I know you were hardcore. Or not, well, I guess it's not that hardcore. You made it yourself, you were saying, but I just bought it from Martin Pleasance and just got a 6C. And now we've got it just on our website as well. It would be good, I guess, to have a lower potency, but to be honest, 6C works amazing. And, I'm going to put on here on my Q&A for next time. I want to have a chat with you about the homeopath saying, 6C regulates and 9C increases and 12C stabilizes or whatever. We should have a little chat about that one day. Actually, lots of things we should chat about.
That's a good topic too. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we've just knocked out our first QnA Friday. I reckon we'll just upload it just like that and get some feedback from the listeners and see if they like it. Go check us out if you want to watch the video, go to rumble.com/C/homeopathy hangout, or just rumble.com and search for Homeopathy Hangout. Go to the Homeopathy Hangout podcast Facebook group. And if you've got any questions for me or Sarah, post it in there.
Thank you.
Chat soon.
Bye.